Hey guys, alright, it's Brett from Iron Body Martial Arts. How's it going? In case you don't know, I run a channel here on YouTube that focuses mainly on old style traditional martial arts and conditioning training, endurance and toughness training, and many aspects of traditional martial arts. Now recently, I've joined my local MMA club, my local fight club, and my idea was to take the traditional skills that I've learned and practiced over all these years and go and join the fight club, hone some things, know a bit more about that world, and bring you guys the updates here, which is awesome. The benefits at the moment are I get to do more training, which is great because I love martial arts training. I love learning different things. So I thought I could do those things, update you guys here and let you know what works, what doesn't work. Am I struggling with something? Am I not struggling with something? And it may help anyone there in the traditional martial arts community or anyone who's studying any martial art maybe transition into trying something new, doing something different, learning some new skills, because you can always learn stuff, which is awesome. So this week's update, it's been a couple of weeks now, or 2 weeks or so I think, that I've been going to, or maybe a little bit more, that I've been going to the MMA school, and I've been doing mainly boxing lessons, Muay Thai lessons, and jiu-jitsu lessons, yeah, the BJJ, which is the no gi and gi. So gi is the thing you wear, so like basically like wrestling in shirts and stuff, normal clothes, and then wrestling with the gi on and stuff like that. I borrowed my missus's old gi and she had an old white belt that I chucked on. And as you guys can imagine, that's an exhaustive topic because of the differences of things you can grab and this, that, and the next thing. So we could go on for that forever. But look, what am I finding out? What am I finding out so far? Well, if you haven't seen the first introductory video, go and check it out. I'll put a link here, unless I'm too lazy or I forget, in which case just go and check it out. And then I think there's a second video where I'm then talking about things that have helped, things from the traditional arts and from the Iron Body Martial Arts Kung Fu syllabus, or whatever you want to call it, Kung Fu training or martial arts training regime that I do, that have helped. So, what after these 2 weeks, what am I thinking? I did say to one of my good friends, I was talking to, one of my good friends, one of my new friends, so hopefully to be a good friend. I was talking to the anime trainer who runs another YouTube channel, and I said to him something similar to, I think a lot of people in the periphery fans and other people maybe who aren't fans or don't follow the channel, they have maybe not a misconception, but they have a conception that there was going to be this big shock or this big wake-up call that a lot of traditional martial artists get when they go to like fight sports or fight stuff or wrestling. And so far, I know I'm only 2 weeks in. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I can't do. But so far, I've been pretty good at, even just at a base level, defending myself in the jiu-jitsu side of things, not getting too destroyed, and holding my own a little bit, you know, within the realms of training. So there hasn't been any big shocks. Now that's good to hear, and I'm sure my traditional martial arts friends and or not followers, but people who watch the channel will be pleased to know this, because this is the age-old question, isn't it? We all see the videos and we all see the programs where this traditional martial artist goes into MMA or goes and starts training, and he's just shocked with how crap he is, and he can't do this and he can't do that. I mean, obviously you've got to know that there's a lot to learn, and you can't know what you don't know. Like I've studied traditional jiu-jitsu, old style stand-up jiu-jitsu for like many years, about seven odd years. But you take that to BJJ, ground jiu-jitsu, and it's a whole nother game. So far, the biggest learning step, or the biggest world of learning for me, has been the jiu-jitsu stuff. But then that's why I'm doing it, because I realize that I can always have more training at submissions, grappling, wrestling, be it in a gi or in no gi, and to build my skills. And there's loads of technical experts out there, and I'm not a technical expert of jiu-jitsu, so why not go and learn from them? So that's the number one thing I'd say so far, guys. Even though I've done martial arts for, like, I've been involved in it for 28 years, I've done it, concentrated on it for about 19 odd years. Even though I've done a lot of martial arts, a lot of martial arts training, trying to build myself using the sorts of things that I show you guys on my channel, there's still so much more to learn. You know, I'm not going to pretend that I know stuff about Newaza, which is ground fighting jiu-jitsu specialism that BJJ does, that I just don't know. Yeah, I know stuff about balance. I know stuff about affecting the body. I know some locks. I know some holds. I know I've got a fight mentality in my brain because I try and keep my training like realistic, and also through my job I've been forced to have a realistic look on martial arts because I can't afford to live in a fantasy Chinese martial arts world where I do forms, and I love forms are good, but where, you know, I just live in a pretend world. So for anyone interested, I'm sidetracking now, but that so far has been the biggest difference for me. The biggest culture shock, if you will, is the whole BJJ stuff. Is it a super culture shock? No, because I was involved in jiu-jitsu. I have done some BJJ in the past briefly, so it wasn't. I was aware of this ground world. You know, in the old jiu-jitsu I did, we used to do some like floor work where you just try and like keep a good guard on the floor and then get up to your feet and that sort of thing, and a bit of rolling, but nothing compared to BJJ. Anyway, I'm digressing. So what have I, well, other than being, what's the word, delayed by a little knee injury that I got, what have I learned so far from the BJJ? Well, I've learned you can get injured, but that's another topic. But you just be careful and you can recover from those injuries. But what have I learned? Well, today I learned a good lesson. Just trying to concentrate on being a little bit more fluid. You know, the whole world of grabbing people whilst they're on the floor and trying to pin them down or hold them down or stuff like that can expose you to a whole world of elbow bars and arm bars and all sorts of crazy things. One thing I have found effective from the traditional martial arts, so let's say a good point for the traditional martial arts, is any kind of the grip and the hand strength training and the grip training from all the stuff we've done is brilliant. The towel, the towel or belt pull-ups for lapel chokes and stuff like that, and just general gripping, great stuff. You know, already I've had some good opportunities, although I don't know all the submissions, because I'm just pretty much don't know hardly any submissions. I've had good success with just grabbing limbs literally and stopping them from moving, or grabbing backs of gis. So there we go. That goes to show you guys such a base skill of just having grip strength and being able to pin and grab different parts of the body with a bit of a martial arts mindset, like, no, I don't want to let them do this, I don't want to let them do that, can have good results for you. Such a simple thing to train. You don't need much equipment. It's just your own effort, and it can defend you against some high level techniques. You know, just having good grip strength can defend you against, you know, higher level people who know more about what they're doing, and you know enough to just stop the arms, grab them, albeit, look, this is in like a mutual rolling situation, but so far that's been effective. The one caveat on that I will put is that obviously you can only rely on your strength and your gripping power for as long as your endurance lasts. Yeah, so I found that when rolling multiple people, obviously after a time, your grip and your kind of ability to be able to hold someone in place does tend to diminish. But again, with a good solid grip training power, you will always have that extra strength in your grip. Yeah, to pin a lapel down, to pin something away from you, to pull something in and hold it. And then obviously if you're in a real fight situation or an MMA sport combat situation where you can strike, you can then start throwing strikes in. In a real life situation, you can start putting strikes in with your different knuckle fists that'll cause more damage, or raking or gouging or gripping and ripping or anything crazy like that you could do. So yeah, enjoying it loads. One of the benefits at the moment, to trail off into another tangent, is that getting to train with so many different people is awesome. Whether it's wrestling or Thai kickboxing, getting to do those sorts of things is really, really, really cool. Getting to test your strength against people, getting to have little, spars or rolls. It's all really valuable stuff. Within the confines of knowing that it's a training environment. Yeah, that's another thing. That's another thing I would like to say. You know, I've talked a lot in the past about sparring and training, and you know, then the real world. And you know, this is a good preparation, but it's still a completely different mindset. Yeah, everyone, you should be being kind to your partner. You shouldn't be trying to really smash them and hurt them, because obviously that's counterintuitive to actually you both training and you both continuing to be able to train. Another thing I'd like to address is sort of the ego end of things. I mean, I've never been a person who struggles with exterior ego, you know, but I do, like everyone who does martial arts and sports, I do like to win and try my best. And that's one thing I have been very mindful of, coming into the club, is that I want to show them that I want to try my best. I want to show them what I can do, but I have also been mindful to not, like, you know, when someone's got you in an armbar, you know, you're rolling and they get you in that armbar, not to really put 100% in trying, you know, 1,000% in trying to get out and kind of, you know, making yourself look silly. Or, you know, when the person putting the armbar on isn't doing it 100% either. So that's another like different mindset ethos. But that's just a personal thing. You know, you guys all know it from your martial arts training. You all get that one guy who, like, you know, you're just training a technique sort of medium to light, and they're going at it like 1,000%, and they just will not let themselves, you know, lose or be submitted, and they're doing sort of stuff that's a little bit dangerous to get out of it. So I was never worried that would be me, because I'm a bit you know, older now. I've done martial arts for years. I don't care if in a light rolling situation of like some jiu-jitsu sparring, if someone like taps me out with a lock or something. Obviously I'll try pretty hard to not let them, but if they do get it on there, I'll just be like, yep, tap, you know, we've learned, carry on. So that's another thing I wanted to mention, for what it's worth, is not, not going too crazy. You know, you got to sorry, my damn nose. You got to remember that you're in a training environment. You know, you're until such time as someone puts you there and says, now you've got to really try and smash this person. But that's usually, I guess, with the sport combat, it would be like a real cage fight or something like that. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to talk to you about today. I wanted to just talk to you guys a little bit about the wrestling and how that's been interesting. There's some core principles that, even though I don't understand lots about jiu-jitsu, or barely anything about floor jiu-jitsu, there's some awesome principles that you can adhere to, of keeping good core strength and building your core strength. That's very important. And also just cool things like stopping shoulders, stopping hips, with your legs or your thing, and stuff like that, you know, which the guys at the jiu-jitsu are pretty adept at, like getting around. Like they'll be on top of you, and you'll like stop their hip with a hand or with an elbow, or put your hand in their neck, and you know, just to try and give yourself some space. Another interesting thing I'd say is you can see now, like, you know, we all watch MMA, or you know, you all see these fights, and you can see now how guys get how guys get kind of worn down on the floor, you know, like, you know, you want to strike, you get pinned, and if someone's quite good, especially at the no-gi wrestling, like I had today, I was like rolling with a guy who's pretty good at the no-gi wrestling, and you know, they can kind of just hold you down and cause you a lot of trouble, you know, to just keep yourself from not getting submitted or not getting attacked. You got to keep yourself constantly working. You got to constantly, you know, even if you don't know any submissions, you got to keep yourself constantly moving, but you've got to not move into a dangerous situation for yourself, which is difficult if you don't know where your safety and danger zones are. So it's awesome. You know, it's an awesome study on a totally different aspect of things. I've been gassing on for too long now, but I will finish up with saying, still at this moment, the reason I haven't mentioned much about the stand-up stuff is because obviously the striking and the punching and the hitting, you know, there's really no surprises there. There's some few different footworks with the boxing. Muay Thai is very, very similar to the Kung Fu stuff, just with some checking with the legs. But I always used to practice some leg stuff and similar checks and sanda stuff. So it's not too much of a different world. It's cool to go through like boxing, but like boxing, kickboxing combos. They're quite fun to learn. And now I've also learned that they can set you up for, like, when it comes to sport combat. Like, for instance, you could be fighting in the ring, and you know, when you get tired, your fine motor functions start to deteriorate. We've spoken about that before. Your fine motor functions will start to deteriorate as you get tired. Hence the reason you have such this sort of guard in the sports combat thing, because you have to fight someone over a long period of time. But an interesting point is that one of the trainers said was that, yeah, well, you know, what can happen, you know, in a sports combat match, in an MMA match or a boxing match or a Muay Thai ring match, is you know, someone will be fighting, and we'll notice in the corner that they're like throwing a punch and dropping their left hand or right hand, or doing a certain maneuver, and then we'll usually shout a combo at our fighter going, yeah, do like left cross uppercut, or whatever the combo would be. They shout that to try and get him to do it. Even if the fighter doesn't quite see it, they'll just do the combo, and the likelihood is they might catch the guy out. So yeah, that's interesting to know. That's interesting to know from the whole sport fighting world, or fighting world, that you know, your corner can actually help you in that sort of way. I wasn't aware of that, because that's interesting to know. Yeah. Lastly, I'll finish up on, and then I'll go away. But please, guys, look, do like and subscribe. Chuck your questions in. Put your points in. Obviously, the normal content of the channel is still going to carry on as normal. I just thought I'd give you guys an update for everyone who's interesting. Last point, and then I'll go away, is my other biggest area of difficulty, but not grave difficulty, is just holding the pads for people, because I've not really done much. You know, if I've ever held pad for people, it'll be like one or two things. I've not been involved in very many complicated combos, although I can do them if you ask me to do them with a varying degree of success. You know, I can, because I've drilled my hits and my strikes, you know, so much, and sort of made my own combos, the sort of natural combos. You know, I can, if I've got someone who's good at holding the pads, you know, I can do all right on the pads, but then I feel bad because when I'm holding them for people, you know, obviously everything's turned around and it's like cross, you know, so that's the only other big difficulty I'm having, is just actually being a decent pad holder for people, you know, and not looking like a sausage, you know, when you're there, like trying to go like, you know, cross left, and also making up combos. Like I don't know, you know, I don't really know how to make up combos. Like I could make up some simple ones with a student, but usually it would be me trying to teach them a certain something. But when you're working with someone in a lesson framework, and you've just got to make combos up on the spot, and you're not teaching them, or you're not in a position where you feel you should be teaching them, I find it difficult to just freaking do pads, you know. It confuses me, but only slightly difficult, you know. But there we go. So guys, let me know what you think. There's so many points I could mention about the training, because at the moment I'm putting in, I know I said I would go. At the moment I'm putting in, like I said, I'm trying to do at least four sessions a week, but I think I'm doing more. I'm trying to do 2 sessions a day on my days off, and then 1 or 2 sessions, you know, during or after work time. So yeah, I think I'm getting between 4 and 6 sessions in, which is good. Even 4, that's 4 hours. That's nice. My goal was to always do more than 2, because 2 is like the normal amount of time you would go to, you know, like Mondays and Thursdays you go to your traditional martial arts class. So I wanted to do more than that. So I'll keep you updated. I'm trying to do some good hours, and then after those hours I will also come and do like my conditioning training and stuff like that. So that was good. Like the other day I did 45 minutes on one of their big Thai bags, when I was just like striking it and kicking it, just with barehanded and kicking it, and I got my little shin beater out and did some shin beatering. So yeah, guys, in summary, before I go, I've said it 5 times, no great surprises. I guess if you went in with like some giant ego where you thought you were like a grandmaster, you might be surprised that you get beaten, or you get your arm barred or something like that. But so far, my only ethos is, like with everything, is to survive and be difficult to beat or win, and be formidable. So this is something I always say on my channel: try and be formidable. I'm quite happy if I go to a club with people who train a lot, they know what they're doing, they're skilled guys. If I can cause them a little bit of trouble at what it is they do, at what they specialize in, and I'm not just wiped away, you know, which I haven't been so far, although it's just been training, you know, and I get I get a little bit of natural respect for being a half decent opponent, then I'm totally happy with that. Yeah. Then in real life, in the real life sector of law enforcement and the real world, in that world, if you're my enemy in that world, then I will just do everything I can to crush you, and you have to win. You absolutely have to win. You cannot afford to lose. And there's a different mindset, but they intertwine. You know, they do intertwine, but they are still different worlds. I'll tell you guys that. There's still very much different worlds, those two things. But, okay guys, so thanks a lot for following the channel. The guys on Patreon, the Closed Door Disciples, keep sending me your examples of training. I've put together 10 body conditioning areas that I've put out to the Patreon guys. I'm going to get them to be conditioning those. I've got some people doing some Qigong stuff. So yeah, thanks for the support on the channel, guys. Do like and subscribe to hear me gassing on. I'll keep you guys updated on the journey. Hopefully you've enjoyed my waffling and my analysis. It may not always be right. It may not be You may think differently, and that's absolutely fine. I'm happy to have conversations with people, constantly learn, glass half full, yeah, or glass completely empty, you know. So, okay, guys, well, look, have a good one. Keep up the good training, and in an hour or so, in about an hour or so, I'm going to a no-gi jiu-jitsu class, so that'll be good to learn some wrestling and stuff like that. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Thanks, guys. Have a good